Hi everyone, it's Gotta Know. When I first started backpacking, I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of videos to try to figure out the gear I needed to take and how I needed to pack it in my pack. After watching all the videos and taking it out on the trail and getting some experience over the years, I've now created a video to show you what I've learned from all of the different educators out there. So now I'm a light backpacker. That means my base weight's going to run between 10 and 20 pounds. I usually run 16 to 17 pounds. So let me show you what's in my pack. Let me show you how I pack it, and I'll see you at the end. So let me show you what's in my pack. I use the Granite Gear Blaze 60, and I always line my pack with a pack liner. This is the Nyla Foam liner. So the first thing that will go into my pack is my quilt. Now this is a summertime hike, so this is my summertime gear. This is the Thermarest Vesper 32 degrees. I think the comfort level is like 42 degrees. So this is the first thing that goes into my pack. Notice I don't use any stuff sacks. I just stuff it in my pack. You do not want the heavier things at the bottom of your pack. You want the heavier things to hit in the middle of your back. Also, this is going to be the last thing that you will pull out in camp, so put it in the box. Now I just stuff it in there, and I try to mold it to the bottom of my pack. The next thing I have is my sleeping pad. This is the Nemo Tensor Insulated, R rating of 3.5. Remember, it's a summertime hike. So I put it has a little bit of weight, so I'm going to put it towards the back. The next thing that goes into my pack is my quilt liner. This is just a silk liner. The next thing that goes into my pack is my tent toilet. I don't like going outside of my tent at night to go potty, so I carry a tent toilet and I always keep it in a little Ziploc bag. The next thing that I put into my bag is my clothes. Now this is my Hyperlight Mountain Gear pillow. It's my stuff sack for my clothes. Here's what I carry as far as my clothes. I carry an extra pair of bottoms, shorts, an extra shirt, an extra bra. I carry a couple of pair of extra underwear. I carry sock liners and a pair of socks. So that will go in my pillow. In addition to that, I carry sleepwear. I'll use a base layer as my sleepwear, and it goes in, and a pair of sleep socks. So that's all the clothes that I take. One extra pair of clothing. This makes a nice pillow, and so this goes in next. The next thing that goes into my pack is my dinky bag. This is my dinky bag. If you'll notice, I don't use stuff sacks. My pillow is a stuff sack, but it serves as my pillow, and this is what I use as my dinky bag. What goes in my dinky bag? Glasses, contacts, toothbrush, toothpaste. I use a little container that the top just pops up, and I just put my toothpaste inside of it. And I take a mirror. I take a gallon-sized baggie. I can take this gallon-sized baggie, and if I'm going to be out for 3 or 4 or 5 days, I can heat some water and put it in the baggie with a little bit of Bronner's soap, and I can make myself a warm bath. This is my Bronner's soap. I use a 5mm little dropper bottles, and I can use this for my eye drops, for my hand sanitizer, for my Bronner soap, again, just to reduce the weight. And this too is a lot of soap. I'm also a Christian, so if I have an opportunity to get online and worship online, if I'm out on a Sunday, I also take the Lord's Supper. So this is what I'll make my bath out of. But an extra gallon size baggie comes in handy for a lot of things. Another little 5mm dropper that I can use for my lotion. Took a travel brush and I cut the handle off. I take 2 wipes for every day, one for the face and one for the nether parts. This is a micro towel. I use the micro towel as my washcloth when I want to bathe, or if it rains and my tent gets wet or anything gets wet and I need it, I've got a little micro towel. It's super light and it works great for many things. I take about 3 extra garbage bags or grocery bags that I use as garbage bags, or if my shoes are wet and I want to put them in my tent, I don't like to leave my shoes outside the tent, so if my shoes are wet and nasty, I can set them in this grocery bag to set them inside my tent. So I take a few extra grocery bags that come in real handy for garbage bags, or as I dirty clothes, I can put my dirty clothes inside this, which will go then in my stuff sack pillow, and I don't have to intermingle my dirty clothes with my clean clothes. I always carry about 25 feet of paracord. I can use this to create a clothesline if my tent gets wet, or I do carry a poncho that can become an emergency shelter. I took a little straw and I ran some duct tape around it, so I've got a little thing of duct tape. I use the Katadyn Be-Free water filter, and it just uses on the top, it just uses a cap that you can take off of any smart water bottle. But I always take an extra cap, just in case if this little thing were to break off, which it has done before, I always have a way to close off my water filter. I carry repair kit for pad or tent. I took another little straw and I stuffed it full of safety pins. This is my new toy. I got the Flex Tail air pump. I had not been using one, but I've been watching videos where when you use your breath to blow up your pad, it can create mold, and I saw some images and it's not pretty, so I decided to go with the Flex Tail air pump, not realizing that one of my favorite things is it also becomes a lantern. And I carry a battery backup. This is 20,000 amps, I think is what you call it, milliamps. And then this is my cord that I use to charge all of my devices. It has a dual ability. This is for my iPhone, and then this is for all of my other devices. So I have one cord that is capable of charging all of my devices. So this is everything. Whoop. And I've got some earplugs or earphones. So this is my dinky bag. It's starting to get some weight on it, so it's not going to be at the very bottom. I'm going to try to hit it around the middle of my back. So it goes right on top of my stuff sack pillow. And then the next thing that goes into my pack is my food. So I carry about 1 pound of food per day. This is the Ursack extra large major, I believe is what it's called. And inside of it, I line it with an Opsak, and then all my food goes in there. I keep my carabiner in there because at night, after I'm finished with my food and all my smellies that will go in here, including my trash bag, then I can attach this to a tree. And I'm going to use a carabiner to do so. It's a certain type of hang that I've learned. Thankful to other people on YouTube that have shown me the right way to attach this and secure it. And the other thing that goes into my Ursack is my cook pocket. So I just cook in a hot pocket with freezer bags. So this is my hot pocket, and what I keep in my hot pocket is, in my cooking pouch, is my spoon. So I also keep this in my Ursack so that I can make sure that it is secure and safe and not going to be damaged. So I just slide it in beside my food. And then this is my food. I don't tie it up until I get into camp at night. So this is going to weigh one of the heavier things. This is probably, for 5 days, I'm going to have about 5 pounds of food. So it's going to, I want it to hit in the middle of my back. So everything goes in the middle of my pack. Make sure that before you start packing your pack that you have loosened up all of your compression straps so that you can make sure you get everything good and secure and stuffed inside as far as you can. So that goes in. After I put my Ursack in my bag, I then put my kitchen. This is my kitchen. All I use this for is to boil water. So I have my little pot. I have my fuel. I use one of the MSR pocket rockets, so I will just put this on and set this and boil my water. This is my tablecloth. I like for things to be clean. So I cut this out of an old frog tog. It weighs like 0.13 ounces. So I will take this when I get into camp and the ground is all wet. I don't want everything getting all nasty, so I'll lay this down. I'll put my fuel on top of it. I'll put my pocket rocket and boil my water, and then I have an area that I can keep everything clean. I use a collapsible cup to drink out of my coffee or my tea, and this also is my measuring cup. It has lines for measuring. I carry a lighter, and I also carry a book of matches for backup. I carry a bandana that I can use for my hands, but it's also, since I don't carry the container, in order just to reduce a little bit of weight, I don't carry the container for my pocket rocket. So I use it to roll my stove up in, and that keeps it clean and secure, and I'll put it in my stuff sack. Now, this is, if you'll notice, the only stuff sack that you have seen except for my pillow. So how I put this all together is I take my little tablecloth and I put it in my pot, because if there's water in here and then you put your fuel in, it can cause rust. So I take my little tablecloth, put my fuel in there. My collapsible cup goes first, upside down to keep the inside of it clean. I'll then take my kitchen, my fuel, and my pot. I've got my pocket rocket, it lays right inside, my lighter and matches, and there is my kitchen. So it goes in on top of my Ursack, on top of my food, and I put it to the left because what goes right beside it, I pack my pack the same way every single time. I've really worked on this and dialed it in so it carries well on my back. And so the next thing that goes in on top of that is my tent. I use Dan Durston's X Mid 1, weighs 1.9 pounds. It's a trekking pole tent. So I take that along with the stakes. I changed out my stakes. I'm using the mini groundhog stakes. The stakes that came with the tent weren't my favorite. They just seemed a little flimsy to me, and I want to make sure that I had stakes that were substantial. So that goes in right beside my kitchen. Again, everything's in my liner. If it rains, everything will be secure. The last thing that goes into my pack is my Patagonia Puffy. I don't care if it's 100 degrees, expected to be 100 degrees, I'm still going to take my Puffy. Sometimes, even in the summer, it can be hot, but when you get into camp, it gets a little cool. So I'm always going to take my Puffy. And then my camp shoes. These are really nice. They can be worn in the water, they're quick dry, they have rubber soles. So when I get into camp, I'm an older woman, my feet are starting to swell. I can get out of my shoes, put on my camp shoes, travel wherever I need to travel to get water. So these are my camp shoes. And that is everything that goes inside of my pack. So let me show you what goes in my pockets and in my big pocket on the front. So here's what goes in the front pocket. I carry a trash bag. It'll cover my Ursack if I hang it on a tree and it's really raining, or it will cover my pack while I'm setting up my tent. Everything has a place, and I do it the same way every single time. So this will go in to the big front pocket. It goes in. I won't need it until I get to camp, so I'll put it at the bottom. So I've got to stake it and I step it right in at the bottom. The next thing that goes in is some grocery bags that are put into a Ziploc baggie. This is my trash bag. It will also go in my front pocket. The next thing that I have is my toilet. This has toilet paper, it has a trowel, and it has my headlamp. I keep my headlamp with my toilet, although I'm not one to get out at night to go to the potty. But if in an emergency I had to, and this is what I needed to grab, it's always gonna have my headlamp. And I also want my headlamp on the outside of my pack in case I ever need it. So this is my toilet. The next thing that goes in is my first aid kit. This is what's in my first aid kit. I have a little sleeve of Leuko tape. It also has some Andy ointment, little pouches. I carry an EpiPen. I've only had one reaction, but just for safety reasons, I do carry an EpiPen. I carry, this is my scissors, my knife. This is a Swiss Army card. It has your scissors, knife, file, tweezers. I love this. So I carry this. And I keep it in my first aid because if I'm going to have to cut something, it's usually going to have to be my Leuko tape. And so I can just pop off my little scissors and cut my Leuko tape as needed. The next things that I have are just little medicine pouches. I keep them in little pouches like this, little Ziplocs. And that is all that is in my first aid kit. Again, I'm not carrying stuff sacks, just a Ziploc. I think I've had this Ziploc for 2 years. Goes in front pouch. This is my wallet. I always take my driver's license and some cash so that if I need to catch a shuttle or decide to get into a hostel, this is my wallet. And the last thing that goes into my front pocket is my filter. I use the Katadyn Be Free. I love this thing. It will filter out 1,000 liters per filter. And if I want to clean it, all I have to do is swish it around in water. I don't have to back flush it or anything. It holds 1 liter, so I carry 2 other smart bottles that are 1 liter. So when I get into camp, I fill all 3 of them up and I have them to cook with. So this will hold 1 liter of water. 2.25 ounces, and this is my water, my water filter, and like I said, I just absolutely love it. So, and it goes in the front pocket. Now let me tell you what goes on my 2 side pockets. This is it. So the first thing that will go will be my water that I will put in a water bottle holder on my shoulder strap. So this is going to have some weight. So I make sure if the water bottle is on this side, I make sure that my other water bottle goes on this side. And I don't put it towards the front of my pack. I make sure I put it to the back because I want it up against me. So, but water on the left and water on the right. And what goes in with my water is my lunch. I'll carry like some peanut butter and jelly and bread on this side, or tortillas, whatever. So my lunch. So then what goes in the other pocket? I carry a tent chair. So I carry the Helinox chair 0, I think it like 17 ounces or something. So it goes on the other side. Because it's the heavier of the things, I'm gonna put it as close to the back. So that goes my chair. What goes with my chair, this is my poncho. I don't carry a pack cover. This is it. This poncho will cover me, cover my pack. It can also be an emergency shelter. And in addition to being an emergency shelter, it completely opens up and lays flat. If, and my tent has had this before, my tent got soaking wet, I could open up my poncho. It covered the entire bathroom floor of my tent, and then I could put my pad and my quilt and everything still down, and it did not get wet. So I carry my poncho. It goes on the side of my chair. So that is everything that goes on the right side of my pack. On the left side, we've talked about the big pocket. What's left is what hangs on my pack and what goes into my front easy accessible pockets. So I have a little carabiner that I use, and I hook it with my hat, and usually I hook it actually on the back. So there's my carabiner, also with my camp shoes if they're wet, and I do not want to put them in my pack. I can hang those as well. I carry an inReach, and it goes on the front, so I have easy access to it. I always have an extra bandana for hands or sweat or whatever's needed. It goes right just like that. This is, I take my phone out of the normal case that I carried in, and this is just something to protect it while I'm on trail. So it will go in my pocket with my phone. And then the only things that are left are the things that go into my quickly accessible pockets. Along with my phone, I carry bug spray, hand sanitizer, and a 5 milliliter dropper, chapstick, and a bear horn. Go ahead and make fun. I carry a bear horn. That goes in one pocket because I need access to all of these during the day, along with my sunglasses. What goes in the other, so I have easy access to it, are my snacks. And my dehydration powder, my electrolytes. They all go right there. And I'm ready for the trail. Okay, thanks for sticking around. I hope you liked the video. Hope it was helpful. If it was, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification button. If you hit the notification button, you'll be notified of my next video, which will take all of the gear that was on my table for this video, and we're going to separate it. We're going to separate it into 2 piles. Everything that the ultralight backpackers take and everything that they don't, so that we can look at some gear that we might can get rid of and dial it down a little bit more. So I'm going to put some links below of everything that's in my backpack. And I'm also going to put a link below to the video that teaches you how to tie up your Ursack. So again, thumbs up, subscribe, notification. See you next time.